Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to let you guys know, or we wanted to. I fucked it
Do you
already.
want to sound any more unenthused?
Okay.
Hey guys, Jesus
You
Christ.
want me to start again?
Do you have an attitude problem?
Yeah. Guys, this is a bonus episode because we did another podcast called Uncommon.
Guys, don't
And
listen to Lewis.
no,
This is a very special
it's-
bonus episode
It's
for
okay.
you guys.
It's all right, I guess. I'd just rather be doing something else is all, you know?
Well, I'm very happy about it. And it's a bonus episode. It's called the Uncommon Podcast.
I want to plug my tour.
Well, this is not what this is about. It's a bonus
That's what
episode.
I want to do. I want to do an hour of telling people to buy tickets to my show.
Do you think that'll be effective?
LewsSpears.com.
Do you think an hour of you plugging your shows will be effective marketing?
Maybe if I did the whole hour with a bad attitude. Guys, buy tickets to No Slide Season. LewsSpears.com/gigs.
You're the worst sulk. Is this how you used to sulk as a kid?
Yeah, I would sit down. I'd go.
All right, guys. It is a bonus episode today.
It's a great
on our
one.
friend Jordan's podcast. It's called the Uncommon Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis and I have been past guests of it individually.
Yes,
But,
this is our first duo appearance.
We made a joint appearance on the podcast, so we thought we'd upload it to this feed and this channel.
Yep.
So you guys can hear it, and yeah, it's more of like a behind the scenes. It's not like our normal show. It's like a
not
behind
much
the
sulking in it, but
No.
it's just a chat about the business of radio and what we're doing and where we're going and what we're trying to do.
A
Basically.
real behind the scenes kind of look at what goes on in our lives that maybe we don't talk about.
Yeah.
No, random chat about. Mike Goldman doesn't come up once, I don't
No,
think.
not even once. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
No.
It's a nice little interview that Jordan did. And if you like it, check out his podcast. It's called The Uncommon Podcast. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope that sells some tickets.
Oh, I didn't get to plug my thing in it. Oh,
Well, do it.
guys. Come to see my comedy special premiere. There's not many tickets left, so just make sure you come. It's on October 3rd.
What's the uncommon thing?
Hi, I'm Luke Kidgell, and this is Uncommon.
Hi, I'm Lewis Spears, and this is Uncommon.
Welcome to another episode of Uncommon. My name's Jordan Michaelides and I'm your host. In this episode, I've got for you Luke Kidgell and Lewis Spears, both stand-up comics, YouTubers, co-hosts of The Luke and Lewis Show, and hosts of their own separate podcasts, Memoirs of a White Guy for Luke and Spearhead Sundays for Lewis as well. After leaving radio in April, the boys are back, making more content than ever, posting twice a week with their joint podcast show, in addition to content they release on their own YouTube channels, podcasts, and of course, stand-up tours. This is the second time we've had either of them on in the studio, but also technically the second time we've had them in the studio together. As you'll probably hear in this episode, and Lewis likes to remind us, is that we never released the first joint episode as we had some fantastic issues with video, and I guess the timing didn't quite work out because they left the radio show about a week or two later. But if you're a lucky Luke and Lewis patron, we may give you guys access to that audio-only special cut. Who knows? Maybe if you harass them, we'll let them have it. But thanks for listening. It was great having them on. We covered a lot, including Lewis's alpha energy, Luke's unexpected style, the inconsistency of radio, the Luke and Lewis Show, Killin' Radio Mike, cameo and shoutouts, and comedy in the US. If you like the episode, do leave us a rating on your podcast app. We love giving shoutouts. Thanks a lot to Anth_P for your review this week. Okay, so we've drawn the winners for the Gary V Empathy Wine Prize, the Rosé. First off, big thanks to everyone who entered. We absolutely love the support, seeing your names there. It actually gave us the idea that maybe over time we should probably look at doing a live event because there was enough people that entered that aren't friends, family, acquaintances, previous guests that we realised that there's probably a large enough audience now to consider something like that. So if you like the idea, just send me an email. It's Jordan, Jordan, @naral.com. maybe we'll look at doing that in the early part of next year. And if you like the idea, maybe consider which previous guests or future guests you'd consider going to a live event for. But the winners. So we've actually got 5. We didn't realise we've got 5 bottles, not 4. So the winners are Max Williams. I know he's a big fan. Over in Perth, Alyssa Belova, Cassia from the CC podcast, Rob Wild, and Amy McMillan as well. We'll be in contact with you guys. I think we've got your email addresses from the entry in the competition as well. You've got the option to come visit us in person, or we can just mail it to you. But we'd love to meet you in person and have you at the studio here. For anyone who wants to run competitions, check out gleam.io. It's an amazing tool, randomizes who's actually going to win based on their entries, and it saved us a shitload of time. But yeah, thanks for everyone who entered, and do share with your friends, take a screenshot, post on your Instagram story and tag us at uncommon_podcast. I've also jumped on TikTok, playing around with that at the moment. You can find me at jordan.michaelides on there as well. To watch the episode in full, Uncommon Podcast on YouTube, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Show notes and all previous guests are at neural.com/podcast. With that being said, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you'll enjoy this conversation with Luke and Lewis. How are we?
I'm good. Luke's on his phone.
Yeah.
That's a good start to the podcast. Luke's on his phone.
Well,
I actually need to use
At
the
least he remembers your name.
Actually, you said, "Are you ready?" I didn't respond. Next time, I'd appreciate it if we all wait.
That's actually Jordan's fault.
Yeah.
Also, I'm starting this one off right off the bat. I need to wee. So
What
at
are
some point, not now. I'm just saying, some point could be 20 minutes, could be half an hour, could be 40 minutes. Might not happen, but it's there.
It's definitely,
It's in my
you're feeling
bladder.
it.
Yeah, and it's here. But I'm happy to be at Uncommon. It's
Yep.
good for the very first time.
Very first time,
Apart from that one time where we did an entire episode and you lost the footage.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fucking brilliant. But maybe we'll give you the audio to give to your patrons.
Okay,
Yes.
there
Yeah.
we go.
And you also peed during that episode as well. So
Yeah.
what's wrong with
did.
you, man?
We both had a bathroom. Didn't we all have a bathroom
I
break?
didn't.
No,
Yeah, you didn't.
Luke didn't.
Nah, and
Luke never needs to pee.
No,
except
I do.
he does. He
all
goes
the time.
before.
All the time, and I always go before. I think
Man,
about
I'm
it.
just a very long man with a real small bladder.
Do you know, one of the questions we had was how long is Lewis's schlong?
Oh, I get that question like all the time.
Yeah.
People think that, just because you're tall, you can ask. And it's like, hey, man, that's not a question. That's sexual harassment. It's huge. I do a joke about getting that question. It's like the most common one is, do you play basketball, which sucks. And then once a month, a brave soul will ask me if I also have a big penis.
Can I ask, like, I saw the alpha
Or you
energy.
want me to get it out?
No. The alpha energy
Yeah.
thing. I never understood where it came from. I've missed that. I've missed the beginning of it.
Honestly, neither do I. I do this thing on my Instagram where I'll just start posting about being the most alpha male
not a joke.
in the country.
So this started off when Lewis went to America. All of us back here in Australia could not work out. I received 4 messages, some from my friends, one from my brother.
Message you.
My girlfriend just going like, is Lewis joking? And I've known Lewis now, been my best friend for a few years.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, this is something that he would be like, guys, I'm kidding, but also, unless,
But the thing is, I did it once in a photo and it got all these comments of like people like enjoying
Is it a joke?
And then I was like, oh, people really
don't
like
get it.
this. I'll do it again. And now I just can't stop. Now people comment it on my shit. They're like, no matter what I'm doing, if someone takes a photo of me taking the bus like I'm on Centrelink and I just
that's
got out of
funny.
jail, people go, oh, that's the most alpha male I've ever seen on a bus. I don't even know if they're joking now.
So, but where do you think it originally came from? You must
Probably
have seen
from me
like a
just being
fucking
alpha as fuck, bro.
fucking hell. I don't get it.
Honestly, I don't know where it came from. I think
It
it
must
was
be all the Warhammer. Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
it was
that's
me
alpha.
all painting plastic miniatures, and I was like, this is alpha. This is going to take a few girlfriends.
The reason why people didn't know if you're joking or not, because you do like have this online image of like maybe the kind of like the tough guy. So if I was like, alpha, everyone will be like, ironic, that dude's a dweeb.
Yeah.
But if you do it, everyone's like, well, maybe he does think he's alpha because look at
Yeah.
the way you dress.
No, because his
No,
normal
okay.
posts are often quite serious. And it's hard to
because
tell.
you do that weird side of Instagram where, like, I always remember, I'll never forget
Like
it.
he's Gary Vee or something.
Yeah, one day you asked me to take a picture of you on a staircase and just serious, and then you captioned it something like, man, like rise and grind, or like something crap.
Yeah, I think it was thinking about the next step.
That's what it was, thinking about the next step. And you would have justified that by going, oh, step pun, but everyone knows, like, you were actually...
I love a serious Instagram post. I do that. I also, sometimes, like,
I hate genuine Instagram.
Yeah. I like it, though.
Instagram's filth. Treat it
I don't know
with the
what
respect
to
it
post
deserves.
because that's my whole realm. And I'm like, I can't... You know, like I have comedians that I follow, and I know that like these guys are going to see it and be like, "This is fucking shit house."
Yeah. Well, I look at it, and
I look at that cynically, and
I think because in the top of our Instagram bio it says comedian, so I think we have to play in that field. If you're not trying to be that, then just be you.
That's fine, yeah. But I like doing a little bit of serious stuff even as a comedian because I think there's a lot. There's like a
because you're not funny.
No, because I'm hilarious and incredibly intelligent as well. I've been slammed, boys. Fuck.
This is why Lewis doesn't play basketball because Luke just comes up and he goes.
Because I can I don't play basketball. I'm like heaps shorter than you, I dunk on you all the time.
That's true. That's pretty much our whole podcast, the Luke and Lewis show, is just us bullying each other for an hour twice a week.
And occasionally, like, we turn the attention to Killen where one of us will throw up an alley-oop and the other one dunks it in his face.
That's
He's our third guy.
Now, speaking of bullying, that was something that he asked. Preference for bullying Keelan or Mike, or is there a bit of a different flavour to it?
So Keelan's our camera guy, Mike, who's doing buttons on the radio show.
Yeah, before you even ask, anyone who actually asks you that question, who wants to know if he, like, that's why we bully him.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think he likes it. It sounds like he likes the attention.
Well, speaking of bullying, let's turn to you, Jordan. We noticed, me and Luke were talking about this before, that you do this podcast with lots of different guests, and you generally rock up looking quite casual, just wearing regular clothes. But you had an Instagram model, and that was the very first episode where you wore an entire suit with a tie. And I'm just wondering, did you do that for her? And if so, why aren't you doing it for us?
Yeah, so that was Steph Claire Smith. I got a lot of hate from that. I actually got messages.
Dressing up in a suit for Steph Claire Smith.
I wasn't in a fucking suit.
It was
I was
a
in
blazer.
a shirt.
It was a blazer.
My blazer. I normally wear my blazer. I've got a shirt on. It's just a denim shirt.
You still look nice.
Hang on, didn't with both your episodes? I feel like I wore this shirt at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like no
I feel like
blazer.
I've sort of spruced it up a bit.
Yeah, you
I know,
did.
but I did get a lot of flack. I'd had a fresh haircut. They're like, the timing's sort of impeccable, isn't it?
Well, I think
explain yourself.
It's fine, but like there's like a line. So wearing a blazer, getting a haircut, that's fine. But if you also trimmed your pubes, too much.
No, I
trimmed his pubes.
I'm gonna refer this to Steph. I'll let her give us the assessment. I don't know. I think it was just bad timing. I just look like a bit of a...
I think it was perfect timing.
To cut you some slack, I think she is one of the biggest guests you've probably had on the podcast.
Yeah.
I get the mindset of going, this one's important.
Yeah.
Just, maybe start treating every guest the same. Actually, you know what? I don't care how you treat the other guests, just us and Steph Claire.
I think that we're very important as well.
I've actually got a gift for you guys.
Oh,
okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you trim your pubes?
I don't know whether you like... it's my... I've definitely trimmed my pubes, and I use the pubes to make you a little love heart on a card with a bottle of wine that we got for you.
That's good.
A special Gary Vee bottle of wine.
That's great. Now, do you know that I don't drink?
Yes, I know.
Okay, but you're giving me wine anyway.
Just for you two.
Great, man. I can't wait to tip it down the drain.
That's right. He can take it, and next time he's watching The Bachelor with Meg, we
actually are going to do a drinking game episode where we're going to sit there and play the Bachelor drinking game.
You like this one?
What do you mean?
That we've got for you. You like it?
Okay.
You'll win some brownie points.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be up there with sort of a tattoo sleeve. I think.
Okay, you've been listening.
Yeah.
Someone's fan of the show.
Someone's been listening to the Luke and Lewis show.
Well, I was actually doing the numbers. I mean, you guys have made it to episode 11 yesterday, which I was having a listen to. I was hoping I was going to get a bit of a mention. You coming up, coming up to the coming up to doing the interview, and I was like, nah, not that special.
Well, if you heard our most recent episode, we actually officially banned shout-outs on the show.
Yeah. To your cousin. Your poor cousin.
Luke shout out his cousin's birthday, and I cracked it because that's not on. We're not having birthday shout outs on the show.
And that's fair enough.
But you've never not given a shout out to anyone?
No, because we usually have a ban because so many people ask for shout outs.
Okay.
Do you know how many messages we both get on Instagram going, can you put me on your story? And you're like, hey, Derek from Doncaster, do you really think I'm going to put a 16-year-old kid's Instagram handle on my story because he asked?
Yeah.
Cool, dude.
I can imagine you would get some weird messages. You know what? Some of them were like girls that were clearly barely 18, like the type that put 18 in their profile to sort of trick you that they're 18.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I don't know what girls you're talking to, mate.
You can see it. You can see it on the profile because I know he's a bit of a teenage heartthrob with his audience. You know, bring the girls in.
It's only because I do Bachelor videos. It's only because my interests are the same as girls.
Yeah, Luke has the mind of a 16-year-old girl. That's why they like
Panic
him.
at the Disco and The Bachelor.
Yeah, girls don't like me.
No.
Because I dress like a school shooter and I talk like one too.
Yeah.
Well, but some of these questions are just like, geez, I don't know whether these guys can ever answer this. It's sort of like, it's not pandery, but it's a bit like, you know, how's it being the two hottest comedians in Australia?
As in these are messages that you got?
That we got as part of the questions, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you'd get stuff like that. I thought you'd just get stuff about Jeff and Big Spaghetti.
Oh, no, that was courtesy of Lewis.
I sent one of those in.
Yeah.
And someone was like, my name's Jeff.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was about it.
Yeah.
okay.
So, it's either that complimenting our comedic ability or just shit memes.
Now, on the point of comedic ability, I got to give it to you.
Yes, we are the best.
You are very, very good because you are some of the few people who've really picked up on the differences of Jats and Savoys.
That's good.
I never thought I would hear this.
I actually am kind of offended that you would think that that's a comedic opinion. That's not. That's fact. That's science.
That's what's good about comedy, right? Is you're able to pinpoint the thing that we all don't realise is inherently funny or strange in our life.
So we're like the George Carlin of snack bickies.
Exactly. You're like the young
I think
George
that's a
Carlin.
field that we play in a lot, actually, is a weird Australian food-based comedy. Like, I do it a lot with. I did it with Pineapple Zooper Doopers. Thinking of launching a new campaign, actually, to everyone needs to bin the little vegetables that come with 2-minute noodles. Who eats the veggies?
Yeah, it's always carrots and peas, though, isn't it?
And they're weird and dehydrated.
Frozen.
Yeah, they don't come back.
Can you do something on chocolate bars? Like, we've been going to 7-Eleven a lot recently and just sort of investigating. Like, you know, they've still got Chomp there, Curly Whirlies.
Who's eating those? I
don't know.
I had a Curly Whirly
But we
just
tried
because I had never had one. They're pretty good, but like I would never buy it
Very
again.
chewy.
I'm like
very, very chewy.
I'm like a top 40 kind of chocolate guy. I'm mainstream. I just eat the hits.
Okay, so what's...
Mars.
Yeah, I like plain chocolate Freddos, cherry ripes,
Caramel
anything in a
koala?
favourites except for a Moro. I'm not touching that shit. I'm
Okay.
not an animal.
What about you?
I don't like sweet stuff that much.
Yeah. I can only really have like Buenos, and
Buenos are pretty good.
They
I'm
don't
weird.
taste
I like
too sweet.
Turkish Delight. No one else does, which is awesome for me.
Jesus.
The guy cleans them all up at the end when they're all left at the
Fuck
bottom.
yeah, it's great. I wish I liked Moros because I won't touch them.
Yeah, Moros
I've got
suck.
horrible taste and I won't eat that.
Yeah, that shit's rank. It's very rare. It's very rare to find people who like Turkish Delight. So my dad loves Turkish
there's
Delight,
one in every
but he
family.
grew up with having that shit, like but proper
Is
Turkish.
he
Delight.
Turkish?
He's Greek Cypriot. So
Okay, well, so he would probably hate Turkish Delight, like the
he loves
the chocolate
it.
bar.
He
thing.
loves it.
Oh, he loves it.
He reckons they've improved it.
Oh, really?
I think he's fucking retarded. But it's I don't know.
I hope he's listening.
Yeah, he doesn't listen unless like
Why?
Jeff.
Because he's in a home.
No. He's actually overseas. No, he only listens if he likes someone there in sport or politics.
Right.
So like a Jeff Kennett, he'll listen
So
to.
Steph Claire Smith, he might skip that one.
Yeah, he probably won't listen to that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but you guys, maybe.
Oh, why? Because I look like I
maybe
play basketball.
Maybe I should introduce him to you.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I should. You know?
I mean, does he like comedy about Australian biscuits?
He likes really crass comedy, so he would love Lewis.
Yeah.
But my mum doesn't, so he never.
But not so much Luke. He would get around me, be like, "Oh, that boy, you say things no one should say."
He would still find Luke funny, but I can tell that he really likes crass, rude comedy. Mainly because my mum doesn't.
I feel like I do still do quite crass comedy, but I just don't go. Maybe I don't make a point of
Luke
doing
does it with a
really
smile.
dark stuff.
Yeah, true. I've got some pretty...
Luke does do it.
People are often surprised when they see me live. I think people see me live and go, oh, shit. Like,
We always used to talk about, like, when we were on radio, like, people would always go, oh, how did Lewis get a job on radio? He's going to get him cancelled.
Nah.
But me and Luke always talked about, like, I would never be the one to get us cancelled from anything because
I'd be the
everyone
one.
expects it from me. People will be listening to Luke because I like him. He's a little bit softer. And then he would just say something heinous. It's definitely going to be Luke.
I probably got us close to being fired more times than Lewis did.
Yeah,
Really?
For
Yeah,
sure.
like Lewis maybe dropped an F-bomb, but like in a fucking hell way on radio, like in a
Yeah.
non-offensive way. I said some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah,
Do you
Luke's-
have an example?
I don't
that
want
you
to
wanna
say
talk
it.
about?
The one about the I made that Virgin Lounge joke.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you shouldn't have. That one got me. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was just a bad error of judgment.
It was something along the lines of terrorism
some
and
joke
Virgin
about
Lounge.
terrorism, and Lewis was said,
And that got you in trouble? Okay.
No, it didn't get us in trouble. That's the thing. No one. We'll talk about this just before we start recording.
No one's
one
listening on
listened
Sunday
to our
night.
show.
Yeah.
Like no one at the radio station listened.
Yeah.
So we never.
Because we've now transitioned away from radio. Maybe not permanently, but whatever. We're doing Luke and Lewis show twice a week from my warehouse, and we just set up our own thing because it just got to a point where radio was great, radio was awesome, but it got a little bit frustrating having other people in control of your progression, which is okay, but the main thing was having other people in control of how often we could do the show.
Yeah.
It became, like, if you were a listener or a fan, it became super hard to be a fan of the show because we were never on at a consistent time. We were like 12 to 2 for 6 months. Now we're on 6 to 8 on Sundays. Then we're
8
off
to
air for
10.
a month. And now we're back 8 to 10. And then we're
Yeah.
off and on. And people just didn't know
And
when
the
we were
name
on.
of the show kept getting changed.
Yeah.
Like it went
We
from
hated that.
Luke and Lewis to lunch to just Luke and Lewis. Then it was like the Sunday experiment, and then it was
with
just
Luke and Lewis.
with Luke and Lewis, and it
Yeah.
was just we couldn't even keep up.
I
Yeah.
think, you know,
Literally-
interviewing you both individually, then when we did that original interview, timing was great because
What
a few
happened to
weeks,
that one?
Well, we still got it.
You still got it?
Yeah, we
Is it
still
ever
got it.
coming out?
Only for your patrons.
I'm just going to keep bringing it up. Comments are going to be full of release the original.
But it was good timing because 2 weeks later, you guys left to do your own thing. And I could tell during that interview as well that you guys are just so driven that it was like you almost had a glass ceiling in a way. You needed to go do something
well,
else.
we were like, we radio is interesting in the sense that, like, you can be
Hang on, before we move on.
Yeah.
Is that glass ceiling saying a reference to Willy Wonka when they shoot through the glass ceiling at the end?
It's just a general term to say like you've reached
Is that-
your sort of maximum potential.
I don't know where it came from, eh?
Yeah.
Because
That-
it's like it's often talked about in terms of like sexism and
Yeah, yeah.
gender equality.
Yeah.
But where did the actual term come from?
I don't know, it's a good question.
Is it because it looks like there is no ceiling, but there is?
Yeah. Maybe.
Shouldn't have brought it up, guys. Keep talking.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if you were referencing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, I was saying
It's a good analogy though.
a frustrating thing about any kind of mainstream media that's not the internet is that we could be the best show in the world, right? With the most fans or whatever. But if all of the Drive and Breakfast, all the big radio shows have contracts for the next 3 years,
What do
too
you do?
bad.
Yeah.
Either the radio has to fire people and then pay them to do nothing for the remaining 2 years of their contracts.
Yeah.
Or we have to wait 3 years until that space frees up and then maybe get it. But in the meantime, we don't do a show.
Yeah. Or you go out to like a country gig like Shepparton or Ballarat or something which is not wholly impractical for what you're doing in the larger picture of your careers anyway.
Yeah, which we just didn't really want to. But basically, we love
just want
radio.
to be comedians,
We just want to
and
do
it's
it.
hard to be a
Yeah, but you're
stand-up comedian.
at the end of the day, when I asked you both if you had to do one thing and you've both said stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you couldn't do YouTube or any of that, it'd be stand-up.
Absolutely.
It's quite evident that it's just not practical.
Well, it did
just doesn't
actually
work.
get to a point where maybe around the time that we did the last episode, it was about April, we went into a couple of meetings and we hit like a fork in the road where it was pretty much like, well, guys, it's come to the point we need to decide what's more important to you, radio or stand-up. And then everyone at the radio station's like, and I think it's pretty obvious
They were so
what you're going to
confident.
pick. You know, radio's the way to go. And we're just like... What? No.
We almost
In the
had
interview?
No,
No,
essentially.
we had
in your
to
head.
pretend
We
that
had-
wasn't the easiest choice
We had
in
to
the
be
world.
like, you're right, we'll have to go away and have a long, hard think about this. And then we walked out of going, well,
Fuck
that's-
that.
Yeah.
There's very few meetings you get like that, but when you're in them, you're like, wow, this person cannot read the room at all.
But yeah, I don't know. Radio is something that we haven't left permanently. We could go back to it, we could not, but we're really enjoying just doing the show when we want to do the show, like just doing it twice a week.
I think
It's
radio
so much
is one of
fun.
those. Radio is particularly I haven't been involved in many different industries. I have had a very fortunate life where I haven't had that many jobs, but like
That many jobs. You've only ever worked at a golf course picking up balls, and
I
that's
did
it.
3 weeks of furniture removal. So if you want any help with a piano up a
You were a
staircase,
removalist.
I'm your guy. When I was 15,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
100% illegal.
Who roped you into that?
Just like a guy I knew at the athletics club.
Guy I knew.
Hey, I have a $40,000 piano I need
Yeah.
moved up a staircase. No worries, I've got a couple of 15-year-old blokes that never lifted anything in their life. They'll sort it out.
One move and they're
sucked.
done.
But yeah, everyone in the radio industry, their life is radio. Like it's radio is
yeah.
it's like it's everything, and they live in this kind of like a bubble, I guess. They live in this world where it's like, and a lot of our friends who are in radio still live in that world. And now that I've moved out of it, I caught up with them a few weeks ago, and it was just like all radio chat, and I was like,
Wow.
yeah, but how have you been though? Like outside of that,
It's kind of like if we eventually colonize the moon, right? They're still human, but if you met up with someone, they would be talking about the moon president and
Yeah.
moon celebrities, and you'd be like talking about Earth shit.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, you're both human and you can talk, but neither of you know. You're in different worlds.
It was crazy. Like people, and that's why I think they thought the decision was so obvious, because to them, radio is everything. And we
Yeah.
kind of came into radio going, well, this is a platform we could do comedy on, and that was always our thing.
Yeah, they've sort of got the introspection illusion where they've been in sort of an industry for so long
Yeah.
and they're
we
like,
turn my headphones down. I'm going
Are they-
deaf. They're
Really?
so loud. Yeah. You don't have to turn me down, but
I'll just turn them down.
okay. Ooh, that's
How's it-
nice.
That's better?
I like that.
It was on
That's
100,
good.
to be fair.
On 100, yeah.
What do you guys normally do with your, you've got the
We have a
Rode
roadcaster.
Roadcaster.
We
Radio
worked
Mic
out a really good
2.0.
system.
We automated our ex-panel operator's job.
We're buying one next week.
They're great.
It's so
Yeah.
so good. You should hit them up. They're giving them out for free. All these podcasters that I follow, they all got Rode for free after we
We
bought
got
it.
a comment on our podcast yesterday saying, haha, you dickheads bought Radio Mic 2.0.
Yeah, because
But
Frenchie's
they're not
podcast
that
got,
expensive. I
Well,
mean,
they're like $800.
They're like $700, $800
yeah, but the best $800 you ever spent.
It's
I mean,
true.
this
It's
thing was
amazing.
$650 and I bought it 3
I know.
years
I
ago.
just bought one of those. Yeah.
Did
Fuck.
you?
Well, I started filming my stand-up sets properly. You need to record
And then
the
you just
mic.
whack it in. Yeah.
So
That's interesting. Yeah, because we're about to buy like a full-on camera rig as well for sort of doing cinematic shots for clients and also more
Yeah.
Q&A style interviews here for us, and I'll move that to the camera.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
we'll have the Rode.
Yeah.
Is it Rodecaster or Rode Pro? Because the Procaster is the mic.
Pro.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We
Anyway.
used to call it Radio Mic 2.0. You're asking guys who think it's funny. Well, all we use it for is playing fart sounds. So
Yeah.
you're asking the
Yeah.
wrong people.
Yeah, it has sound effect buttons. What are you going to do with that?
Me?
Load up
We
some
just
farts?
have like 8.
I don't know. It's just more that like it's just a better device.
Yes.
Like I've
it
had
is.
some issues where I'm pretty sure this channel might be a little bit busted. So on some interviews you get like a minor, you can only hear it
And
if you're really listening
Also,
for it.
it doesn't have knobs and stuff. It has like the panel, like the sliding bars. It's
Yeah.
so easy to
It's
monitor.
nice
And
the
you
levels.
can lock them in
It has
as well,
an
yeah?
electronic screen that's heaps better than the ones on the. It's way better.
It's just
way
better.
Yeah.
Way better. The quality of the audio is a lot. You got
very
different
reliable.
frequencies.
Yeah.
I just think we need a little upgrade. It's just part of the course. But I mean, look, you guys are doing well. I've enjoyed listening. There's
Yeah,
been some great little snippets in there, whether it's crocodiles on meth or you and your fucking braille and
Yeah, we,
subtitles for people.
Yeah.
So I love the fan art. Someone made a poster of Luke and Lewis with braille on it.
Yes,
yeah.
that was good.
If you want to check out the highlights of it, if you don't have time for another podcast to listen to, check us out at Luke and Lewis on Instagram or YouTube. We post highlights and shit, and then check out a full one if you want.
Yeah. Highlights are good. I really like the highlights.
I think that's
good to keep up to date with
I
what's
reckon
going
I
on.
listen, like, I think I listen to 20 podcasts, but
No,
really I
no
listen
way.
to 2 and then I follow the highlights of all of these other ones.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where it's going now, where everybody
Yeah.
goes, oh man, I love your podcast, but they'll only ever reference little tiny clips that I've uploaded, which is great.
Yeah.
More people see it. But I think that's it's an interesting thing of like, we've gone... It's almost cheating. It's like instead of putting heaps of effort to make the funniest 2 minutes ever, we just make an hour all the time, and then we go, oh, 2
These are the
minutes of
best
that'll
bit.
be pretty good.
Yeah.
Chuck that out.
But it's part of the process. It's part of your process of improving as comedians anyway. And I think people
yeah.
realize that. There'll be the super fans who always, like we probably have like 1,000 or 2,000 people that will always listen to the entire thing.
Yes,
And
yeah.
the rest, I reckon they listen to 15 minutes.
They come in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just par of the course, I think. And why did you separate them though? Because that's something I've noticed amongst the comedians in the US. They've got like the H3 podcast highlights. You've got
Oh, you just don't. Well, we do
There is
two.
an answer. It was just like I follow a couple of podcasts, and I don't like subscribing to channels that upload 2 clips in one day. I'm
Yeah.
just like, ease up, So if you want to just follow the actual episodes of the show and the really good bits, follow the main channel. But like, if you do want to, because we upload maybe 6 clips a week to the Luke and Lewis highlights channel.
Yeah,
3 from every episode. That's a lot of content popping up
And if
into
you
your
look at all those big
subscriptions.
podcasts that upload the clips on the same channel, their clips get fuck all. Like they're either it's either one way or the other. Either the clips get heaps and the full things get nothing, or the other way around, the full thing gets heaps and the clips get nothing, because the YouTube recognizes that people are only watching one or the other most of the time. So if you just separate it, YouTube goes, oh, this channel does this and everyone subscribed watches it, and then this one does that, everyone watches it. So it sends it out to everyone because the algorithm won't let humans fucking click shit. They go, oh, the robot has to decide what you watch.
Yeah, it is interesting because I've noticed like when you release the episode that night and then the highlights when.
So the audio we put out at 5 a.m. and the video at 5 p.m. So
Okay.
the audio is out all day. People listen to it on the way to work and stuff.
They predominantly listen to audio, right?
Yeah, no.
No.
Really?
Or
No.
Video's double, twice as big as the audio consistently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But we put a lot of effort. Like we bought really good cameras and we edit in like photos and clips that. So like watching it
Takes
is
about
better, I think.
Keelan an hour to finish actually editing the full episode. Because he goes through it and puts in visuals and stuff to watch.
Okay.
And
Because I just noticed that your certain channels will come up in my recommended at different times, but I get more recommendations for the highlights than I do the actual episode.
Yeah,
'cause
and
it's
that's another
mainly
reason why.
it's because you generally watch shorter clips on YouTube, so it's not recommending
Could
you
be,
the
yeah.
hour episode. So it will think you'll like the 6-minute version.
Yeah, but it depends. Like sometimes I'll just put your show on and just like if I've watched the clip, sometimes I'll
Yeah.
just put it on in the background, mute it, and just let it play out.
Mute it.
Yeah, because I'm doing work or whatever, and I've sort of gotten the clips for this episode, and I'm like, okay, I'm happy with that, but I'll give them the watch time for.
That's so weird.
What a mad dog.
Well, because I know what it's like. It's all about the watch time.
It is true.
It
Yeah.
is.
I mean, at home, I've got 30,000 computers in my basement just playing my own shit. I'm actually not a big YouTuber at all. It's all me.
I don't know though if YouTube is. Like, is YouTube able to measure what portion is on mute and what portion is listened to?
I would say that the amount of people watching an hour on mute, you're the only cunt.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think they need to factor that in. I don't think anyone's doing
no,
that.
but
I
like,
have no idea.
because I could be listening to half an hour of the episode and I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm going to go to a meeting. I'll just leave. I'll let it play out. I don't have time to come back to it. I'll watch the clips. It's
World's
just,
busiest man doesn't have time to click. You don't even have
so
to click
funny.
pause. You just click the screen. You're like, fuck, too stressed.
there's so many podcasts that I have that I'm subscribed to and
Yeah.
whatnot. You have to be strategic about how much you listen to. And
You almost do. Yeah, there's so much shit out there.
Yeah.
Like entertainment. Like even not just video. Like there's streaming services. And I read and I like comic books. Like there's so much shit out there now.
yeah.
I've found that the more stuff I start doing, the less I consume because I'm just like so spending so much
impossible.
time
it's impossible.
doing all of our own stuff and my own stuff. It's like I do 3 podcasts a week minimum, plus there's stuff like this. This week,
I've actually. Do you know what? I've
done 4 podcasts in the last 3 days.
Yeah, I think that for Luke and I, really like this year, I think we had a few tours and we were making a bit of money from the radio thing. Like we really took the output of content and doing it and treated it seriously, and like, let's try and put out as much high quality shit as possible. And I think that's really the future, because there's so much shit out there. Like, I'm a fan of maybe 20 video creators and 10 podcasts, and I like reading and this and that. Like, you have to put out like multiple videos a week, because someone like me is only going to watch one of them. I'll miss the other one, and I'll only watch half of that one that I actually clicked on.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to be putting out so much shit, you know?
It's true though. It's just where there's now like what's the word? It's like there's a fire hose of content sort of.
Yeah, I don't think it's oversaturated though.
No.
I just think that it's that it's so easy to watch a little bit of stuff every day now that, like, if you're not doing that, you'll kind of get missed.
Of my favorite podcast while I'm eating sometimes. That's how I consume.
The morning is when I typically consume a lot.
Yeah.
It's true.
What have you guys learned? I mean, one of the interesting questions that I said was that we got on Instagram was someone who was like, your, consistent earning income with radio versus the podcast you're doing now, which I had a good chuckle at.
What was the question?
Oh, like, why did we leave radio if they were giving us money?
How do you, in hindsight, what's it like leaving radio for consistent income to actually own your own thing? I'm like, man, this guy does not know how little you earn in radio.
People, like, I mean, I was going to say what a dumbass, but like, no, that's a common misconception.
I just don't think, they don't understand.
It's not, and I think a lot of people may be closer to the industry, such as yourself. We've been involved in it now for a while. I think we were naive at the start, going into radio, going like, this is a cash grab. It's not.
There is so much money in radio if you're on breakfast or drive and everyone else is poor.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has
all the
money.
stuff that isn't, that is...
Luke and I were getting paid $200 a show,
and
we started off on $100 a show.
I remember when you told me, I was absolutely shocked.
And we would do that once a week. So thank God that we had the online thing.
We were like loaded. Even my friends, like when we went out, like, oh, it's your shout. You're on radio money now. And I'm like, dude, you have a full-time job. You earn 4 times the amount of money as me.
Even a part-time job,
we'd earn way more.
Because we luckily we had income elsewhere, like tours and videos and stuff. If we only did radio, even if we lived at home, we couldn't afford to. We would have to have another job.
Yeah. They're actually quite lucky in the sense that we could afford to do their radio. Like, a lot of people can't do the development shows because they're like, well, this isn't enough for me to live off, and I need to focus on my life and I have to pay rent. They were lucky that they caught us when we were both living at home. We weren't that stressed about money because we have income coming from elsewhere. And I guess the thing, they not took us for granted. I'm not saying that, but like, it was just a fortunate situation where it was a win-win. That's the only reason why it did work for a year and a half, is because we weren't that desperate for the money.
That's why it finished, because it got to a point where they were like, oh, mate, if you want to keep doing radio, you can make $60,000 a year moving to a regional town. And both Luke and I were like,
no way,
we'll lose money if we do that.
Like, we could just work a little bit harder at the online stuff and, like, pull in a similar amount. If we have a good tour and ticket sales are going well, online stuff's going well, Patreon, a mix of all those things, it's like, why would I spend my life? The main point is, I don't want to go to Shepparton, but
you don't at all. And I think as well, what'll happen is you will earn way more money doing it on your own.
Well, I honestly, it's not even about that.
It's not about money.
I understand.
I live at home,
but as a caveat, as capping that downside, I think you will.
Well, I think, and also that's kind of why the reason we did radio is because we wanted to do radio. We didn't really care about the money at first. Like, we just wanted, it made us funnier, I think. Like, I've noticed just from especially it being live, and it's like whatever you say goes out, so be funny right now. I reckon it's made me funnier on stage, like our show better, stuff like this.
So you can think on your feet a bit more.
It'll never be a
crowd
thing.
work and stuff. Crowd work for my stand-up was really my weak point. Luke's always been good at it. That was where I was always weaker. But I reckon the radio show really helped me lift that part of my stand-up game.
And it definitely, like, that was another thing I wanted to speak about, because we didn't actually get to talk about last time, was the riffing of ideas. Like, how do you guys, what's the process now with the show? Because now you don't have anyone telling you, you know, okay, you got to listen back to this clip. This is what we're going to talk about today. Here's the run sheet. Yeah. How are you thinking about all of that?
We've kind of retained as much as we could of the planning process.
We've pretty much always had creative control over our show, where we were the ones going, we're talking about this. Can you get up the clip? That's how we used to do it. Okay. So if there were producers, we'd be like, hey, we want to talk about this. Can you find that quote of like your Donald Trump or whoever saying that, and then grab it? Now we just...
we were kind of like... we were not lucky. We were kind of smart in the sense that we went into radio and both of us were like, this is our first foray into something where other people have input, and it's, you know, we have bosses and we're not in control of it. So we kind of went in and we were like... we're doing this. This is the show for like 3 months of like, this is what we're doing. And then we got so far into this is what the show is. People started trying to change it and it just wouldn't move.
Yeah, we just wouldn't let anyone touch the creative side of it. That was the only thing that we gave a shit about, was like
the quality of the show.
And do you think there is where you learnt, you know, things that you've taken on now, just structuring? But,
I mean, we still do segments.
It's different, though.
We still do segments, though. Like, we still actually carry it across some segments that we did on radio, like where Lewis will expose a business, or you know,
we still have
sound effects.
And we haven't done this yet, but we want to start adding in calls, maybe pranks or whatever, just like the phone element, maybe even getting listeners to call us, or we call listeners who email us or whatever. Like we like all the creative elements that radio does that podcasting really isn't doing at all.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. Like I don't know a single podcast that has sound effects or heaps of listener input we loved that radio does really, really well. So I think we just took all the stuff that we liked from radio creatively and then also planning behind the scenes wise and then took it to our show.
Actually, with this new show, is maybe 50% of the ideas of how we come up with it actually revolves around the audience and the show. So, like, sometimes we go, oh, I had a funny story on the weekend. I'll tell you about that on the podcast. But often it's like going through emails. We spend about an hour before every show sorting through all the emails we got through the week. And, you know, often some
How
of them
many
are great.
emails do you get, by the way?
So many.
But since we started again, holy shit. Like, at least 30 to 40, like, after each episode.
Yeah.
Like it, and if they're crap, we just kind of like, we just go through.
A lot of them are crap.
A lot of them are crap. and a lot of them are like, hey guys, heads up. And it's like a thing, we're like, yeah, we know, like whatever. But, you know, often we just, you know, people send in celebrity spots. We have a segment called Celeb Spots. We have a segment called Thoughts, where we just say what we were thinking. Like, and people send in their thoughts I think part of the creative process is filtering the things and then also building that community. And that's what the show's about. And I think the fact that we get that many emails off each episode shows that putting the time in, you get a lot out of that. But people enjoy it.
Because it's one thing to write a comment with a joke or timestamping.
And we also read the comments as well.
Emailing, like sitting down writing email. They're not just sentence things. They're big emails of like people trying to contribute and join in, which is awesome.
It's the best.
Yeah, I think there isn't. I was just thinking about that. There isn't really, at least in Australia. Well, definitely not in Australia.
Well, I'd say Hamish and Andy is the definition of the People show, and I grew up listening to them, and that was easily always my favorite part of their show was the community that they built around it. And I remember thinking, like, deciding, well, whatever I do, and I started it when I started my own podcast. Like, I remember I've thought about this since. Remember in 2017, I did episode 50 of Memoirs of a White Guy. I think it was before a You Don't Know Me video. I didn't have much of a following at all.
Maybe like
small. 10,000 likes on Facebook. I got 50 people to come to the Yarra River to look for a pigeon that didn't exist.
And they all knew that it wasn't real.
So it's just like, oh, looking for Peter Pigeon. And that was this ongoing joke in the podcast is I saw a fat bird one day. Let's see if we can find this fat bird. 50 people came out of their houses for 3 hours and Lewis and I did a joint podcast. And that was probably the first Luke and Lewis thing we ever did.
Yeah, people showed up like wearing stuff and...
People bought like binoculars, ways to look for the bird. Like someone bought a pigeon mask and so he could twerk and be a lady pigeon to attract the bird.
Yeah.
And
everyone knew that it wasn't real.
Everyone knew that we weren't going to find the bird. And I was thinking about that.
Reminds me of Amy Shark.
I was like, that's
Reminds
crazy.
me of Charles Manson.
The Amy Shark says hi thing was like seriously one of the funniest fucking things. I just remember seeing that and going like, these guys really are like, they're doing what Hamish and Andy did, but maybe they're taking it to another level.
Well, that's probably a good example of what our show is. It's we never try to like, what's the next thing that we can get people? We never try to get people to do stuff. It's always just something
organically
that we're fascinated with.
It's what you said on your previous. It's what you said on your previous episode. It's just like, let's just see if we can run with it. Like, just come up with something ridiculous.
For every Amy Shark or Savoy Jats thing, like we throw out so much stuff, and when we never know what's going to be the big thing until we get the feedback from the audience.
The Savoy thing was completely accidental. Yeah. We just were talking about it, and we did one break about it on
4 minutes.
Triple M, 4 minutes, and then we did an Instagram poll going, what do you guys like better, Savoys or Jats? And it only because of the listeners voted came back identical either side. I think it was like 768 votes either side.
Exactly.
Right?
So it wasn't averaged like 50-50.
We were refreshing it at the end of the 24 hours up. Like the next time we came in, it was been 24 hours and we're like, oh, there's a minute to go and it's neck and neck. What will win? Dead even. So, and then we came back on the radio, like, we have to talk about this. We divided a nation with this bicky shit, and then it just took off. But that was accidental because we were just like, I don't know, who knows what will win? Probably Savoys because they're heaps better.
Just on a segue on that, I cannot believe, like, how could you like Jats?
It's so gross, aren't they? They
like
crumble.
What is it in it?
So
it's
we
like
talked
a
about this.
Malt.
We talked about this for 6 months. Like we worked out why people like Jats. The reason why, and all these Jats eaters are going to be so angry. Oh, Jats is better. The reason why you like Jats better than Savoy is because you've never eaten a Savoy, and that's fine. We don't hate you for it.
It has to
You
be.
just don't know.
If anything, we're sympathetic. Now we get a lot of people going, "Oh, Jats suck," and then often people comment, "Have you had a Savoy?" No, don't want to because Jats are better. It's like,
how can you know?
What kind of attitude? In
Savoys
Melbourne,
are
we've tried
only in
both.
Victoria. So
and Tasmania.
And Victoria and Tasmania, Savoys only get shipped there, but we get both. So everyone in Melbourne has tried both and understands that Savoys is better. Everyone else in the country has only ever had Jats, and that's their bicky.
And this is how good Savoys are, because we're severely outnumbered as Savoy boys in Melbourne, right? Yeah. But there's Jats rats in WA, Queensland, New South Wales, way more population-wise, yet 50-50 say like Savoys, which means there is a much stronger community of Savoy, way more passionate because they're better bickies down south, and we know that. And I think it's, if anything, the rest of the country is just a laughing stock to us.
But it's clear, like it's objectively better.
Objectively better.
The only thing there's nothing subjective about it. It's like the biscuit tastes strange. Ask anyone who's had it versus a Savoy.
I've got testimonials, great ones. Celebrity, internet celebrity, Jackson Fairbairn, Lachlan Fairbairn, boys from Adelaide, came to the Melbourne Comedy Festival this year, never had a Savoy.
And
Jackson
they came in so strong. Fuck Savoys, Jats the best.
Jackson had one bite and goes,
this is strange.
This is heaps better.
Yeah.
And I've had Patreon people order them from interstate, get them shipped to their house. So people in other states have started getting shipped to them. We started taking them to shows interstate to spread the love. Everyone who tries one is immediately turns from a hater into a lover. And
we just stumble across that. I have to say the only thing that Savoy boys and Jats rats do agree on is that a Clicks fix is all right every now and then.
Yeah.
Clicks, fucking hell. Clicks and peanut butter? Was that?
Oh, man.
So what did you guys have on your Savoys? Mine was Cabana and sort of cheese.
Just
raw dogging, man.
Raw dogging.
Straight down, no dip.
My brother put butter on it.
That's weird.
Yeah,
that's okay.
He was
French
weird about
onion,
butter.
actually,
he would
how I
pick
prefer
butter.
to eat them.
You guys pickers of butter? He would actually pick butter.
No, knife.
Yeah. He would grab it with his finger.
Put his finger in
I've
it.
never
That's
seen
He
gross.
also
He's an
ate
animal.
cat food at
He should
the
be
age
put
of
in a
5.
cage.
Yeah, he's a bit of an animal.
I think your brother...
He's on the same spectrum your dad is.
Well, he may actually be on the... He's a fucking genius. He's got like an IQ of 135.
Yeah, but doesn't know how to use a knife.
Yeah, but I bet he can only fucking eat things if they're red or something.
No, he's not that much on the spectrum.
But just quickly before we move on from Bickies, I had been meaning to bring up to you. What are your thoughts on TikToks? I had them again on the weekend.
Fantastic. They're always underrated.
TikToks were like,
great.
I always wanted. Mum never had sugar or sweet
Another
stuff in the
Arnott's
house,
Bicky.
but TikToks every now and then.
Did they come in the combo pack?
When I was in kinder,
Yeah.
they did.
They did, yeah. That's what it was. You
They
had
were the best of the combo
Anzacs,
pack.
Chalky Ripples, teddy bear biscuits, chocolate teddy bears, and TikToks.
So you
And
know
I
your
would-
bickies.
Oh, yeah, I would always divert away. Anzacs
You
were
were in
always
a
last.
Bicky house, huh?
Yeah,
Some
we were-
people had like Bicky house. Like you go to your friend's house and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, would you like a biscuit?" And you're like, "Yeah, what do you got?" And he goes, "Mate, I got everything."
Yeah.
They open up the Bicky drawer and you're like, "Oh, my mum sucks."
No,
So I reported to child services.
We were
only have
deprived.
Clicks. It sucks.
We were deprived. So what would happen is Mum would buy only those packs when they were on special, right?
Yep.
And they were massive family packs. And then what would happen is it would be like a race to the bottom, basically, because they were so people would basically stash them. Or they would just devour them all within 2 days.
Which I feel like is what should happen, because if you just have them all the time, you just end up don't appreciating the Bicky or with diabetes. Both not good options.
Well, my brother's got type 1
There you
diabetes.
go.
But that is hereditary, though, so it's a little bit different. But yes, we were thoroughly deprived of sweet things as kids.
By the way, I realised earlier we didn't answer your first question
What was that?
about bullying Keelan and who
yeah,
we prefer
you
to
did.
bully
Who
more.
would you prefer? Who's more enjoyable?
Radio Mike
I like
takes
Radio
it
Mike.
better. He laughs more. Keelan, sometimes I don't like. He does know it's a joke, but I think sometimes, maybe I think because Lewis and Keelan hang out a lot more than me and Keelan do. So I feel like when Lewis shits on Keelan, they have like this relationship of like, yeah, like we're with each other every day.
Yeah.
I get it. I feel like sometimes I'll say a joke about Keelan on
he'll
the
just
same
go,
level,
"Oh."
and Keelan might go, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, sorry."
Oh, sorry, man.
But here's the thing. Radio Mike has his positives and his negatives. In the moment, he's the best, right? You
Yeah.
make fun of him, he'll laugh. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that's so true. This, that, all great. We move on, completely forget about it. 30 days later, he'll come and be like, hey, man, remember on episode 305 at 24 minutes in when you said I have a big head? Is that true? Do I really have a big
Mike.
head?
Mike will do this.
Yeah, he'll do it. He will call you and
Yeah.
go, you know when you said that, is that true? And I'll go, no, it's not true. You don't have a head bigger than a bus, mate. You're a human. And you're beautiful and I love you. And he goes, okay, I'm just checking.
I think
And then I'll be
he's a
like,
funny
can't wait for
character.
next month.
I think what people like, most people get it. I think a
Yeah.
majority of our audience understand. It's play fighting, right?
Yeah, it's definitely play
it's
fighting.
absolute. It's like WWE.
I think by him asking that question, I think he really enjoys it, to
Yeah.
be honest.
And,
And
we
I
should
think-
do it more. It should get physical.
Yeah.
But on a serious
With whips.
on a serious note, we have and we make sure we have these discussions off here where we do say to Keelan, Radio Mike, whoever it is, going like, if we ever cross the line, please tell us, because that's never the goal. The goal is for entertainment purposes, and I think it's important.
It always comes from a place of love,
Yeah.
because you don't fucking make fun of someone unless you like them.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think by telling him, it's a good way to go about it. I mean, the fact is you can't know unless
Well,
they
that's
tell
the
you.
thing now. Where with radio, if Radio Mike didn't like us, or whatever, that's SCA's problem. The radio station, that's their employee. Whatever, go to their HR. We employ Keelan directly. If we bully him too much, he can report us to the authorities.
How does Radio Mike like? Does he seem like he's suffering a sort of breakup now that he's no longer with you guys? And he's
No,
sort of,
because we're still
Nah.
really good friends. We talk all the time.
We still
like,
catch up.
Like Radio Mike we love him. We saw him the other day.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
talked to him just today before we came in here.
he was
so-
watering your beers the other week.
Yeah.
And we always kind of thought that like
I should stop hanging out with him, eh?
I don't get that at all, but it was
Hey, man.
funny.
Neither did I. Mike's the type of person where at the start of the night he'll do. So the way he and often our humor goes is like, if you do a thing enough, it becomes funny.
Yeah.
Repetition is key. Sometimes the joke can be so bad that
It is only
the first time
repetition.
he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna water the toilet."
he had a watering can.
He had a watering
Yeah.
can. He's
In a house.
Kept filling up. He's like, "I'm gonna water the toilet," and he thought it was so funny because he's like, "Get it? Because you don't water toilets. They've already got water in them."
That's the joke.
So then he started watering people. He comes, someone water them, pour water in the head. He thought it was hilarious. I will admit, by the time he started watering beer cans, I was on board, and I was like, "This is comedy."
That's how Amy Shark Said Hi started.
I know.
Amy Shark's I Said Hi song would play on the radio all the time while we were doing the show. So just to each other, off air, every time the song came on, she'd be like, tell them all I said hi. And I'd be like, hey, Luke, Amy Shuck says hi.
We started calling each other at 1 a.m. like, oh, yeah, Amy Shuck said hi, hanging up. Like,
Yeah.
There is definitely something in this, just separate to comedy as well, because there's a statistic in sales that after the 5th or 6th email, 8% of salespeople will or follow up on something.
Yeah.
But that's where the 80% of sales are made.
Yeah.
Or interviews are booked, or insert whatever statistic you want.
Yeah.
And I think
I did
think there's
sales.
something to
It's just
that.
like, it's just repetition, saying yes until they think
Being
yes.
consistently, I don't know, professional, comedic, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Just not an arsehole,
Yeah.
obviously, in some instances. Like, I've seen instances of salespeople who are just like fucking...
I'd say repeatedly turning over no's on persistence is like a great strategy in most things except for sex.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know...
That's a clip for sure.
You want to know a company that is the definition of persistence?
Oh.
Cameo.
Dude.
Holy shit.
Okay, how?
Do you know what Cameo is? It's that app where like influencers, you do paid shout outs to people, like paid videos.
And is it used to be a whale?
A whale?
Yeah, like it was originally
Nah, bro,
something...
it's an app.
No. Okay.
Definitely didn't
I
find
know,
it in the sea.
but it was originally an app.
Yeah.
But
And then it was a
the
dolphin.
logo was like a whale.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Now it's just like a star.
Who was it started by?
I have no idea. But we just get hit up. So this app,
They're launching in Australia. So basically, you pay, celebrities go on, hey, it's $40 and I'll say happy birthday to your friend, right?
And they pay it, and then you do it.
Genius
Yeah, yeah.
idea to make
It's a
an
way
app
to
about.
scale you as a
Because
talent.
we get those questions all the time, and we hate doing them, or because it's just
Can you send a message for Dave? It's Dave's birthday.
Give me a shout out.
Just like, oh, if you could like just say happy birthday to Dave, it'll make his day. You go like, and then you do them. You're like, happy birthday, Dave. Dave gets it. Who's that? Why would I don't know this guy.
Just a note on shout outs. You could actually, if you have people call up, you could do like Kyle and Jackie O style.
Well, what do they
At
do?
the end, like at the
You
end.
imply that I listen to commercial radio.
No. Like back in the
What do
day.
they do?
You guys are a little bit younger, but back in the day when they had the Hot 30 on Fox, people used to call up and they'd just let them give shout. They weren't on. It was just the end of the show with the outro music, and people were just giving shout outs like, "Hey Carl, hey Jackie, happy birthday to Keelan."
That's why no one listens to radio.
thank God.
Dude, Kyle and Jackie O are still.
Thank
course.
God I would never
Yeah.
heard that, because if I was in the car and Mum was driving, I'd grab the wheel and just take us off the interstate into the oncoming lane. Because I'd be like, I don't want to listen to shout outs.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Anyway,
take out my whole
shout outs
family.
Continue
suck.
about your app. That's not a
Oh,
while.
okay. So before I even to get me to sign up, 12 emails, Instagram DMs, Facebook
All of
DMs.
this to me as well.
All this to both of us individually. And then I eventually signed up. I was like, oh my God, just so they stop emailing. They got me. I was like, just so they stop emailing me, I'll sign up and I'll be a creator in their app. All right? Fine.
See, Luke's weak-willed. I can be an asshole forever.
I did it.
ignored it
Yeah,
forever.
he turned it
I
into
ignored
content.
it for 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months. And I was just like, I'm busy. And also, I'm like, I don't care. It's not something I want to do is, fleece my fan out of money to give me a shout out. I was like, it's not something I'm particularly interested in. I don't like doing them. By the way, book me on Cameo and I'll hate it. And then
I'm going to be doing this
I
later.
signed up, right? So then straight away, 10 seconds, man, after I signed up. Not joking. Maybe 30. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit. 30 seconds. I get a text. Hey, welcome aboard.
All from the one woman.
And not an automated text like, hey, it's oh, I said her name.
Oh, you said
beep
a name.
that?
Can you edit that out?
Yeah, we'll edit like it's not live.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, man. It was...
And you know what's crazy? No shit. Look at that. She literally messaged me now.
Yeah.
She's gone, I just wanted to let you know we're getting requests for Father's Day. Not sure if you have dad fans, but great work to share your page.
Oh,
It's
you
like
definitely have
Yeah.
dad fans.
And I'm-
And then when I got booked...
100% not opening that. Watch me clear that. I didn't see it.
when I... And when
how
I,
about ask her? We'll do it for you.
Oh,
We'll
no
take
way.
a cut. We'll take
No.
a cut, and we'll dress up as Lewis. We'll impersonate Lewis.
She invited me to some...
she invited us to a dinner.
Cameo-
She's like, oh, we're
No
having a
shit.
Cameo influencer dinner. And
Dude,
I
she
was
is
like,
selling hard.
I was
Well
like,
done.
I've made you $30, right? One person's booked me, and only because
But
we
what
joked about
she
it.
could
We
make-
talked about it on the
I
show.
don't
Luke
talk.
set
I've
it
never
up.
promoted it, right? We've only talked about it on the show because we've talked about this about
So
how much.
just to annoy him, he set his up to because he was
So
sick of it. So
annoying.
I found out about it and secretly set mine up, made it
Smart
$1
move.
more expensive, and I got booked more.
down.
called it a premium service.
Oh, you want to be booked more? I thought you were going to get people to book with him,
And
but you should put a shout out for him.
Dude, the only person who booked me was to spite Lewis.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
I only got 3. Like Luke got 1, I got 3.
But you also know he hates it, so you should put out a shout out on your Instagram for them to go book him with him.
By the way, I have nothing against, and good on this app. Like, make your money, whatever, hustle. I get the hustle. I respect
think it's a smart
their hustle.
idea. I think
it's a cool app.
Like, because even just for the fact that you can get like fucking Charlie Sheen with his coked out puffy face to wish you happy birthday.
Some birds.
That's awesome. Or
I was thinking of getting paying Soulja Boy to do one for my podcast. Like,
Just for
stuff
the
like
joke.
that is funny.
Yeah.
Like,
That would be cool.
get Soulja Boy to tell us to crank that 3 times. That'd be sick. Like, I'd pay $200 for that.
There's something like this I remember, like, working in the crypto world, there's a thing called Earn, and it's like you can respond to an email or a question, and they can nominate how much they pay you, but it's like earned in crypto and some shit like that. But it's a cool idea. I think it's sort of, for people who are personalities, this is not a task you want to be doing regularly because there's no, you're already engaging your audience. There's no real monetary benefit.
I think that's why I actually don't like doing it that much. It's not because I don't want to send people videos, I spend so much time actually replying to people and Instagram DMs and stuff for free, replying to emails from our podcast, my podcast. I spend so much of my life engaging with my community. The last thing I want to do is like hold up my phone and...
Yeah, I think the way you got to look at it is it's sort of like a VIP experience. Like you might have, you do a show, there's some people who get like a VIP experience, some people who line up and get signed stuff, but if you do a bit of both,
I'd rather just...
You're sort of blending it.
People meet me after the show. If they want to like get a one-on-one, I'd just come to a show and then that's when I'm more than happy to like
that's the best thing is like when you do the show. Because like talking whatever online, that's whatever, reading shit. Oh, this is so funny. I died. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you're real, whatever. But when you do a show for like, even if it's 10 fans, hundreds of fans, whatever, it's the best feeling to see their faces, see them enjoy it, and then afterwards talk about what was your favorite part. I like this, I like that, and actually engage with the people who like obviously really like you because they they spent hours getting to the show. They booked the tickets a month ago and this and that. That's really the best part.
Yeah, and you also incentivize that behavior as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you want people to come see you.
Absolutely. Like this is true for Luke as well. Like our stand-up is by far better than anything that we do online because that's what we put the most effort into. Like we're stand-up comedians first, and then the online stuff for free is great, and we put a lot of effort into it. But really, if we're being honest, it's the stuff that wasn't good enough for the stage. Because if it was the good stuff, we put it to our priority.
Like when we're like, oh, what do we have to talk about today? I'll go through them. I just be like, nah, too good. Like I'm not going to talk about that on the podcast. That could be a bit, and I won't even bring it up because I'm like, even if it could be a bit, I won't mention it on any other.
Yeah, and you
platform.
guys do a lot of shows midweek. I've noticed, like at least 2 a week, right?
Like this week I've done 4. Last week I did 5. I think I do probably a little bit more, but I think Lewis is also busier in other areas.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that was missed from when the other recording was...
Where's that? What happened to that?
Only for your patrons.
I think it's just the thing where like it's what actually makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like I could do a podcast all day and be like, yeah, I had a productive day. But if I go out and do 5 minutes a gig, I can come home and be like, I've had a really productive day.
But this is also the thing that defines your friendship as well. That the fact that you met at this shisha bar doesn't matter that he forgot your name. The fact that you guys bonded over that you weren't both there to leech off other people and just
we were there to get good at stand-up.
Just get good is what really...
and that's what we're still here for. Like, we're still just trying to get better.
It's so obvious. It is very, very obvious to see that amongst you guys. Like, there's certain comedians that you see, and there's some that... Like, I can tell you guys, I think of all the people I've met, it's obvious how hardworking you both are.
Well, you have
and
to.
you're in a very unique scenario where you've got the two of you together to lean on.
It is, and that
I've noticed actually Neil and Friendly Geordie's just started their own podcast.
Yeah, I think collaboration on like air, our podcast is great publicly, but I think off air and what our friendship behind the scenes, I don't think either of us would be in the same position we would be in without each other.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where, one of us has been like struggling with a thing or just like, I don't know how to get this done. And, Lewis has offered me a lot of advice. I've done the same for him. And I think I think it's almost like having a business partner in a way. It's easier to do work with someone than by yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
And Lewis really paved the way for a lot of online creators because you were one of the first.
Yeah, in terms of doing online and stand-up.
I remember he had a podcast before. I didn't even know what a podcast was.
Yeah, that was with
I was like, Hamish and Andy have one of those.
Who was
Elliot and Carla Colourfella Nothing Inc. We did that, only ran for like 15 episodes or whatever, but then I had a solo one, and that was like...
I'd say that's still out there.
So that's still happening.
I thought I was late to the podcast game. I started mine like early 2017. I was like, man, I can't
Luke
come
was
in
worried
this
about
late.
being late, and I was like, dude...
It's just beginning.
The only person in Australia that at the time doing a solo podcast, I couldn't think of another person.
When I started, I just went straight into like the top 50 on iTunes because there were no podcasts. Like it was crazy.
I'm telling you, it is still open slather. Like,
oh yeah, especially in Australia.
I am an absolute nobody. And I have 2,000 people that listen actively every week. If you had told me that 2 years ago, I would have fucking pissed myself laughing.
Yeah.
It's just there's and all the other podcasts, by the way, that aren't Australian that are in the top sort of charts, they're just the dregs of people listening to your Joe Rogans and your Gary V's and all that.
The dregs.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like they're
the peasants. They don't know anything about crypto.
Not the do you know what I mean? Like they're doing it because they watch them on YouTube or whatever. Well, when they find local talent, I think that is very.
That's the thing. Like there's like. Especially when I started, like there was no Australians, and even Luke says that I paved the way, but before me it was Alex Williamson. And if you really want to talk about,
I think just so you paved the way in the world of like obviously not sketches online, though other people doing that and touring shows, but like in really like making it like a business and being like. Yeah. Getting a community of fans, doing podcasts, different types of content,
and consistently too.
Consistently,
That's
the
the
other people
thing.
who are like doing bogan sketches and like stuff like that, and then selling a lot of tickets from that. But I think like it's changed. If you just did sketches now on Facebook, no one will give a shit about you.
Yeah.
I think you're one of the first people who like you became like a guy that was like, oh, I just want to follow him. Like I want to follow his life, not just his videos.
Like I always like a personality.
I always saw that, and I always talked about that. It's like people liking. This is true for any
Frenchie
creative
did it
thing.
really well, actually.
People
at the start.
liking your videos and people liking you are two completely different things. Like there are people that I know that are like easily more than 10 times bigger than me numbers-wise online, but they've done shows and they can't fill their rooms because people like their videos, they don't like the person. Because they don't know who the person is, because their personality isn't in their videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's where that consistency comes in, because you see consistency in different mediums is where you get different elements of that person's personality.
Every year I'm shocked at actually how many tickets I sell. like for how big I am online.
I couldn't imagine what it's like.
Because
to have, even if I was to sell a show with 50 people, I'd be like, what the fuck?
No, but it's crazy because like I don't even have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've got 76,000.
Really?
And I sold well over 3,000 tickets this year.
Yeah.
And the ratio of not all those people are from Australia, so I probably have
out of those less than 100,000 people, maybe only 40,000 people could actually see Luke.
40,000 people maybe in the vicinity of a city that I'm going to, right? Yeah. So and then 3,000 people are coming. That's almost 10%.
10% of the people that could see are coming.
I think that's a very high
definitely
turnover, bums on seats to how many people are watching your videos.
It's a very good conversion rate.
A very good conversion rate. That's better than bums on seats.
Yeah,
I don't rate that.
Very very. You both have that, and I think there's something really.
Well, I think the reason that we have that is because the podcast, and also because of how clearly seriously we take our stand up. Because the stand up, like I'm doing my 6th tour now. So, and I've got such a high return audience, and so does Luke now, because we just put effort into every year you see us, you see a brand new hour you've never seen before, and we're a lot better than last year. And last year was good.
Yeah, most people come back, which is why the shows keep getting
well,
bigger.
I think there's a few things to this, and this is a point that I want to touch on that we had in that prior episode that I've now taken to apply in my own space.
Where did you take that episode? Where did that go?
Just for your patrons.
Right. Interesting.
So there's the consistency thing, right?
Yes.
There's also when you had when I sat down with you, that really drove me to get video.
Yeah.
Because that was the last episode.
I told you. I said, what are you doing?
I went out the next day and I bought these cameras.
Good. I'm glad that I did that.
So there's the focus on improvement, always improving in that element. But I think the big thing as well is particular to audience. So when we were talking about the US, if you remember, and you can give us the Lou review on that in a second.
Because I just got back from there.
You were just about to go, but
The Lou review. Your life is a meme.
I think it was
sucks.
It was the thing about you start local. And then you start increasing. Like, you know, you have a focus on a suburb, then suburbs, then the city, then the state.
That's literally how the internet works. The internet works geographically. Social media, at least, works geographically with reach.
And I think after that interview, that's when we've really started to go to another level. We've still got a few things to do, but there's... You know, like that's when I really started to notice different types of guests that were like I cut off. What I realized is I've been pitching people who are out of state and wasting hours on people who are out of state, and half the time, you know, a thing's going to line up with them coming here. They're doing a tour, whatever it may be. And so I just started focusing on Melbourne only and just being the best in Melbourne.
That's how I started. I started doing my biggest videos were literally about the Melbourne nightclub scene.
Yeah.
Which is like people from Melbourne aged 18 to 22 and then a couple of 17-year-olds that want to go clubbing. That is a tiny audience, but I built it from there. And then from those people, I expanded and I got their friends and this and that. And now still, to this day, I started in 2012. So what is it? 7-8 years since I started. It's still my biggest market is Melbourne, and it's because I made for like only 6 months making fun of Melbourne clubs, nightclubs.
It's the same with me with my VCAL video. That VCAL stands for Victorian Certificate of Applied Learning. I was surprised I went into state, people were like, love your VCAL video. I'm like, do you even know what that is?
Yeah. It's a good point, though.
I just likened it to TAFE in the video, and I think they just got it.
Yeah. Well, you might have noticed.
In Melbourne, that went nuts, and it's because people here were like, oh, that's so local. I get that, and it just went viral in Melbourne.
Yeah, and so, like, we had that interview.
Which is better than viral in Bangladesh. We're never doing a show there.
Interviewed Jerry Sakis, who you've listened to, Marty, like all these people who are known as entrepreneurs in the Bayside area. Yeah. That was where and that is where it's really like... the engagement has really started to kick off, I think, in particular. But that was really informative for me, and I think a lot of people could learn a lot from that is start local and gradually go up. And so for you guys now, it's thinking about things like the US. And that's what we spoke about, the fact that you can go over there and 7 shows. You could do 7 shows in all of Australia, but you could also do 7 shows just in California.
You could. That's what I was about to say. You could do 7 shows in New York.
Yeah.
Like there's
bigger
different
than the
areas.
Ones that
you
we
could do a
do.
show in Brooklyn, Jersey, Manhattan, Queens,
that
and that's like doing a show in. You know, people. I always talk to people when I was over there last year, and people don't go. Like I was like, oh, would you go to a show in Brooklyn? Like if you live in Manhattan, they're like, why would I go out there?
Yeah.
Because everything's just there.
They'll just go to that.
Yeah.
And I was there in New York for a week, and I was like
30 minutes
I
on the
totally
subway.
get it. I wouldn't
There's
go
just so
anywhere
many
else.
people,
It's half an hour. I drive like 50 minutes to get to the city every day, and I consider it nothing. But yeah.
New York's just that compact.
So what was you? I know you were there with Andrew Schultz for a bit. Yeah. How did you see America now that you've been over?
So originally I went to New York and LA because I've always wanted to go to America, and I think that's where my career is going because of a stand-up was. But I went for the first time to kind of decide, oh, what if I hate it? I don't know that. If I worked for 10 years or 5 years to get somewhere and then found out that I hated it, that'd be a waste of 5 years. So I went there to try and experience it. And what I got out of it was, that's definitely the goal. That's definitely the place. Like,
It just reaffirmed that belief.
Oh, 100%. And it also made me decide that it needs to be New York, not LA.
LA is a shithole.
Yeah.
LA was not good.
It is a terrible place.
And also New York, I was there for a week and I did 3 comedy clubs, and one of them was on like a weeknight at a really good time, packed crowd, and that was with a week of networking. Like to the point where now, if I was there, I reckon if I lived there 2 months, I reckon I could be doing all of the clubs regularly because I'm good enough and I could see how to do that.
Yeah.
Then I went to LA. And I went to the Comedy Store, I went to the comic strip, and I saw the most famous people I've ever seen in my fucking
Comic
life.
strips in New York. The Laugh Factory.
Laugh Factory. Most famous people I've ever seen in my life. I met Joe Rogan, this and that, and I was like just sniffing around asking about gigs and that. I have no idea how you would even start comedy.
Because you've got to be like famous.
Have I told you the story when I went to the open mic at the Improv in Hollywood? So I went there on Thanksgiving Eve, right? So
in Hollywood.
In Hollywood, right? And I went to an open mic and it's sign up, right? Put your name in a hat and they pull out 15 people. Guess how many comedians rocked up for that open mic spot?
On a holiday.
In LA.
How much?
130.
Whoa.
And they were like, oh, we might get on tonight. It's Thanksgiving Eve. Not as many people have turned up.
Jesus.
And I was just like, everyone here wants to be famous. So, and that's what bothered me. Not everyone there wanted to be a comedian. There were models who their acting coach had been like, just go do anything.
It's just there's so many people in LA just to get
wanting
famous.
to be famous. They're like, people will just do anything. So I guess open mics is the bottom.
Yeah.
So whoever their acting coach is, there were literally I saw a carload of people get out and all put their name in.
Wow.
That would never happen in Melbourne.
No.
Usually go by yourself. Your friends judge you because like, why the fuck would you do an open mic? Like, but in LA, it's what you do.
And so New York is just pure comedy.
New York is just stand up. And I talked to like she was like a behind the scenes producer later. She'd done lots of stuff for HBO. She was like I met her through Schultz, but she was like a very important person in the comedy business. And I said, what do you think? Should LA or New York? I hadn't been to LA. And she said, I think that LA has way more opportunity for TV and stuff. But if you want to be a stand-up comedian, stay in New York, because every person like me, if they see a comedian in New York who's good and has the money to move somewhere else, we see you in New York, we go, oh, that guy wants to be a comedian.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be a movie star or on Instagram or this or that.
And he's funny.
If I'm a comedian, if I make my money out of managing stand-up comedians and I see a comic in New York, I know he's there to be a comedian. He's not going to do comedy for 6 months and then get a movie deal and fuck me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also the fact that you're a big fish in a little sea in comparison.
For sure, because I was talking to another comedian about this. He also went to LA, and he was frustrated that because he's kind of big here and he's really good, and he was kind of talking of like, oh, I don't know why I can't get gigs. Like I'm really, really good, and the comedy booker was like, yeah, you're amazing, but honestly, look at tonight's lineup. Who would you replace? And it's like Joe Rogan, movie star, Kevin
it's like
Hart.
the all-star team.
Yeah, and it's like you're as good as all these people, but are you fucking? How many
have you
movies
ever been
have
to the
you done?
Comedy Store? Like
Never
Tuesday
been.
night.
I've never been to America.
This was an actual lineup I saw on a Tuesday night, and it wasn't even like it was just a normal bill. It was like Joe Rogan, Chris D'Elia, Brian Callen, Eliza Scherzinger, Whitney Cummins, all in the one night. I saw David Spade, Andrew Santino.
Yeah.
Literally like and eight in a row, and you get to that point where you're like, yeah, it's a good point. Who are you going to replace?
Yeah.
And yes, you can get I did stay around when as soon as it passes midnight and most people leave, I stayed around to see what the comedians will be like. There's 30 people left in the audience. They're not getting paid. And I will admit, I could probably replace a few of those people. But you're not getting paid. You're performing at 1 a.m. to 30 people. I would still do that to get the stage time. But that is the opportunity there.
So when we caught up last time, we spoke about the fact that you both want to do that, right? You want to go over there. There's the issue with green cards or sort of working over there. You've basically got to be famous or you got to get someone to spot you.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about this?
Well, I've actually started talking to an immigration lawyer, and we went through all of the criteria of an O1 or extraordinary talent visa or whatever it's called, and they reckon that I'm eligible for it. But they're also the lawyer that I would have to pay $8,000, so I don't know if they're a biased voice that just want my money. So the only thing, basically the lawyer was saying the only thing that I would need to get a green card is just a management company to be like, yep, he'll work for us.
Yeah, well, I've spoken with our management. We are on the same management with Verve.
Yeah.
And Yeah, they've.
Yeah, what is Josh and that said about it?
It's been talked about, and they're just like, yeah, I mean, it's a thing that I don't know what they've done with Isaac. I think Isaac's doing shows. On his website, it says TBA America, so I'm not sure. He must be doing shows there. So maybe he's got one. Don't know how that.
He must
I think
be
they're
the
trying
test.
to organise it at the
I think
moment.
they may be trying to organise
I
it.
reckon he must be the
Yeah,
test.
well, he's the one out of on Verve who's the most ready to go over there because he's got the biggest following. I think, they went over there with Lewis and they've set up a lot of meetings with a few big labels. So pretty much you need a management here and a management there who's willing to take you on because you technically need to prove that you're going over there to work.
To make money.
Essentially what it is
this
they have to do
now.
a logbook of what you're doing there every day. So you need to be big enough to make it worth their time logging everything you do.
Yeah.
So that's money for them. They don't want to do that. So you need to be making a company money essentially over there for them to get it for you.
Yeah.
So you need to be in a position where you can at least be booked at colleges and be making good money every night.
It is a weird thing. I kind of understood more about it talking to the immigration lawyer. It's this weird thing of like, so you can't get a green card without a business actually offering you work. And then I was like, but how can I get an offer of work if I don't have a green card? And the lawyer said, I know that's a fuck around, but that's just how it is. Because it's like basically the company has to hire you instead of an American on the off chance that you get approved for a green card.
Yeah.
So that's the thing you need to make.
The stars have to align.
Yes.
Well, I know just from experience.
But it's underway.
The company I used to work for, they have an office in LA. They'll sponsor you. So we don't have any, unless you've got like a criminal record, no one's ever had an issue getting a green card.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
but that's why I think I am mainly looking towards the UK next. I would be looking towards America. I have a bigger following there, but it's so difficult to work there. It's just a pain in the ass. So I think I'm going to, at least we've both been talking about maybe going to the UK, hopefully in the next year or so, and
I think
doing something,
moment,
even if it's just Edinburgh or like trying something over there where we can, because it's so scary booking a room on the other side of the world. I've never been there before and going, will anyone show up?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So hopefully it's just a risk,
But I think for me, I'm just going to be going to America once or twice a year from now.
That's what I was thinking. Like, do you just go over there, do meetups, something like that?
No, I don't want to do meetups because like
it's more
they
just
suck.
Networking.
You don't want to do a meetup because hey, fans, come hang out with me in the street and not talk to me because there's 50 other people there.
Okay.
Fuck that. Come to a show and I'll do something for you.
Okay.
And then you can meet me after.
So it's just basically when you're over there for the amount of time you got, it's just completely unproductive.
That's what YouTubers do that don't have any other skills. They're like, meet me in a park and I'll take a photo with you because that's all I got. And that's fine, but that's just not what either of us want to be, I think.
Yeah. No, I think you're quite serious. You're both quite serious about comedy, and I think it shows. What does the future hold then? What are you most excited about for this year?
Well, I got my tour, No Slide Season, coming up. That starts in 2 weeks. That'll be the biggest tour I've ever done. So I'm super excited about that. Tickets are going crazy this year, which is fucking awesome. Except for Gympie. I'm going to Gympie. I've sold 10 tickets in Gympie. Like it's like
Gympie.
To the point where it's like that's the one that starts first. That's in 2 weeks.
I always forget where Gympie is, and then I look it up and I was like,
I looked it up after Lewis got booked there, and I was like, well, I'm not going there.
Why did you book there?
Oh, management thought it was a good idea.
It wasn't.
Bit of an error. I think because I look at my ticket sales, I'm like, man, I am killing it. And then I get to Gympie and I go, why am I going there?
Yeah, you're like, is that a mistake?
I actually thought it was a mistake. But the rest of it's going well. I'm looking forward to the tour. I got a little TV pilot in the works that I filmed in LA. That's big and top secret. That's coming out soon. Okay. That'll be cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have a comedy special coming out in September.
Yeah. That's right.
First ever one. Shot it in May in Brisbane. It was the biggest show I've ever done. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, best material of the last 3 years that's not online already.
I'm looking forward to seeing that because I didn't get to see your show. During Comedy Fest.
There's a lot of this year's show, maybe 50% of this year's show, and then 50% older stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And are you going to you're going to film yours, yeah?
Yeah, so what I'm doing this year is because I met up with Andrew Schultz and I worked out how he does all of his, because we've been trading knowledge for months, and then I met him in person and we did all this stuff. I helped him get shows in Australia and this and that. We've just been helping each other out, and he showed me, and I talked to his video guy of how he's been filming all of his stand-up stuff, and we've got all the gear.
I fucking love that.
Yeah, so this tour is I'm going to be filming every single show, and I'm not releasing the show for free. You guys got to see it in person, but the aim is hopefully after the 40 shows that end up being done in the next 6 months, I should have like one clip of stand-up to drop for a whole year, whether it's crowd work or maybe bits that are like about like too current to save. If it's about current news, you know what I mean, I just chuck it out because it won't go in a special, obviously. So but yeah, the goal is we did a little test run and it looks amazing and it sounds really good, so hopefully like I'll start putting out stand-up clips because no one's in Australia is doing that regularly.
Do you know when Andrew Schultz is coming out?
It's on his website, loosespears.com.
I got to say though, he
I
at
think
the
he's
moment,
coming in October.
He's probably leading when it comes to having clips of stand-up clips on his profile.
I
He's
regret
really
not
good.
doing it this year. I just wasn't in the financial position to do it because you
It's
have to
expensive.
pay someone to come with you and stuff.
So you've got to pay for a camera. You've got to plug that thing into the mic.
Oh yeah, I mean
Into
the
the sort of
camera we
the-
got's like over $4,000.
I do so much crowd work at my
And
shows.
you bought it?
Yeah, we own it because you
Well,
have to.
hang on, the camera that you use for...
podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
No shit.
Because it makes sense because you need a camera that you can put all the way at the back that has such a good zoom and then also needs to film in 4K so it catches the whole stage, but then you can do digital zooms that aren't all blurry and fucked, because otherwise you have to have 3 people to get different camera angles and shit.
Yeah.
And that's way more expensive than just getting a good camera.
I'll have to ask you about the model off air because we're
Yeah, I'll tell
looking
you
at...
what it is.
What is it?
The NXR 2000 or something.
Okay. I thought you were about to say the Sony A7.
I'm disappointed that you guys did that off air after just agreeing to do it off. Anyway.
Sorry.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, no, okay.
But I tell you what,
I'm
I've
actually
never lost the footage of a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me fucking started. You should see like what we did to try and recover that. We went to this company that like recovers codecs, and like I was there for an hour and a half with this Scottish guy, and I couldn't understand a fucking word he said.
I just spent $293 on a video to recover 18 minutes of footage.
Are they in the city?
No, I just did it online.
Yeah, so
got
we spent a month. I got scammed as well. Stellar Video Repair. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I did a lot of research. That one came up. I didn't do it that.
They recovered it, but what happened was it would jump every 5 seconds on your video after. They're always corrupted middle of the thing.
But
so
there's
it
a
looks fine
website
at the
that
start.
fixed it, but it cost me so much money. You have to pay per minute. It was ridiculous.
Oh, Jesus. We paid it like 100 Aussie. It was like 75 American. And then I got the bank to reverse the charge because like this is a fucking scam.
Yeah.
Good.
And then we went to that company and the guy was just like, man, you can't recover it because it didn't wrap the file or some shit like that. I was just like, well, I won't be making that mistake again.
We'll see. This one hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, just don't fucking do not touch these.
Hey, you did it.
All right, we need to ask you some rapid fire questions to finish us off.
Yep.
We had an interesting one. If you were an emoji, what would you be?
An emoji?
Yeah.
I would quit life. If I was an emoji.
If you could describe you as an emoji, what would it be?
The big cash bag.
No, the flying money, dude.
Flying money.
If I'm flying cash. That's how I describe my career. If I was to describe me, I would say the P face because I'm a cheeky bugger.
Okay.
No, my one is absolutely the finger.
The finger?
The middle finger, yeah, for sure. I love that one.
Yeah, I was thinking the finger or like the microphone thing because you've got a powerful, loud voice.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh,
Particularly when you have that laugh and you get the
quite
head
an
arching back.
alpha laugh.
Here we go. 5 favourite non-musical sounds.
What? Who has 5?
Wet fart, sneeze.
A fart followed by a sneeze. The funniest noise on earth.
That's this kind of shit we worked out on radio. We did a whole segment of like what's
and then a fart sniff.
Yeah, that's the funniest combination of bodily functions that we found out on radio. A fart followed
Best
by a
noise.
sneeze.
Any other? Come on,
never
like
think
laughter
about
of a
that.
crowd.
Okay, laughter of a crowd, I guess.
Laughter of a crowd followed by all of the guys going in the crowd going, please have sex with my girlfriend, fuck my wife. That's good. That happens a lot.
Sound of a Standing Ovation, which we get all the time.
Yeah.
All right, we'll cap it at
don't
that.
And
end the
maybe just this ka-ching.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of relates back to my whole career thing.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All
The
right,
sound of me depositing checks. So
How much were your pants, Luke?
no comment.
$20.
Yeah, because I'm a minimalist.
Luke likes money in the bank instead of jeans. That's his favorite ornament. Just cash in the bank.
all right, is there a movie or doco that you've watched recently that you'd like to recommend to the audience?
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched it recently, but I watched, it's called Meal Ticket. It was at the Melbourne International Film Festival. I love it. I watched it when comedy had just started to look good for me. It's about this Australian punk rock band from the 80s that almost made it, but they fucked it up with drugs and not focusing on it and doing too many things and basically not focusing, and they went to America but they didn't properly do the leap. They almost made it, and they're an incredible band, Screw Top Detonators. And I watched that, and then it followed them over 20 years. The guy...
And what's happened to their life?
What's happened to them since. And they're just regular guys, obviously. There's nothing wrong with not making it, obviously. But I saw the documentary, and it made me go, I can't fuck up my chance.
Yeah.
I have a chance, and I have to take it seriously.
So it's that sort of fire in the belly type movie.
Because you see so many documentaries of, oh, look at how Coldplay made it. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I like that. But seeing
Someone not make it.
Almost Coldplay, look at these guys that almost made it.
What was that Coldplay documentary? Oh, let's just do the same thing over and over again and be okay at it.
I like Coldplay.
Yeah.
That sounds like how you dress.
And I'm killing it, just like Coldplay.
You could be in Coldplay. You look like a guy who's in Coldplay.
I dress like how Coldplay's music sounds.
Yeah.
Simple, mainstream.
It's so weird, like, looking
and most people hate it.
It's funny that, like, you don't like Coldplay. That's the only, like, normal bland thing that you don't.
My dad likes them, and I don't like them. They got like 10 good songs, but if you were like, oh, name 10 Coldplay songs, I'd be like, oh, name Clocks, and then the rest of them sound the same.
So what about you? Movie or doco that you've seen recently?
I mean, I watch weird shit, man. I just watch like world's toughest prisons, and like I love that shit. I'm obsessed with that. So like I watch stuff like that.
That shit is pretty gnarly.
Just about like they go to a Cambodian prison and the dude has to survive, and he gets in a bunch of fights. It's great TV. An actual serious one. I don't know. I like one thing I've always liked is that Conan doco where he gets fired from. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's
we
it
spoke
called?
about that.
Yeah, he gets fired from The Tonight Show, and then he's banned from going on TV for 6 months. So he just goes F you and goes on this massive national tour, and he sells out. And like my favorite scene is when they're in the office and they tweet the ticket link, and then like 2 minutes later, like, all right, Chicago sold out. And there's like 3,000 seat rooms.
Yeah, it's sold out in like 20 minutes or something.
And it was just cool because he was sitting there in the room and all these shows are selling out, and he's like, all right, I gotta write a show. And it's the process of writing under pressure that I love.
Ooh. I have not seen it. So, do you remember the name of the doco?
It's called, like, I can send it. I know.
And
I'm sure it's on Netflix.
It also demonstrates like what you can really do when you're honest with your audience and you give them if you're good to your audience, they really stand up for you when you need it.
Yeah,
that's what I've always liked about Conan. He's very much.
I love his show, man. He's the best Tonight Show host because he's honest.
Well, I'm going to be watching this one tonight.
Any other questions?
No, that's it, gents. Thanks for coming in. We got to an hour and a half. Where can people find you online?
Lewis Spears, check out my tour. No Slide season starts in 2 weeks. I'm going everywhere, especially if you're from Gympie.
Yeah,
please
definitely
come.
from Gympie.
Everywhere else, Melbourne's almost
Gympie.
sold out. I think all the cities are almost sold out except for Gympie. So come to them.
We were looking at tickets last night. I've actually still got it on my fucking computer. I need to book tickets.
You should, because Melbourne is actually almost gone.
And honestly, by the time we release this, it'll be gone. So tough luck.
Don't say that. Have a check just in case. LewsSpears.com/gigs.
It's called Can't Stop. Is the Conan O'Brien documentary?
Can't Stop.
Yep. And where can I find me? Just YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I actually I don't care about Facebook anymore. Instagram, YouTube. Facebook's dead in the water. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I think you're right on that.
Oh,
and check out the Luke and Lewis show. We're really excited.
Actually,
about
stand-up always goes viral on Facebook. I had one go viral again recently. It's got 600k views in the last week, and I have no idea why. Facebook's strange, and it's a weird place. Yeah. And other things will just get 30 likes, and it's like, I don't know how their algorithm works.
Yeah, the algorithm makes no sense. And I think there's just way more attention on Instagram and YouTube.
YouTube is like, and Instagram are the most consistent places to follow me.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us. And Lewis, well done for not peeing.
Yeah.
I didn't pee. You're welcome, mate.
And I may also get a parking fine as well.
Oh,
really?
That's good. Yeah. Great. Well,
thanks,
hey,
guys.
mate. Try not to lose this one.
Thanks so much for having us, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for making it to the end. Before you run off, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode, or do leave us a rating. For Instagram, go follow us on @uncommon_podcast. For YouTube, search Uncommon Podcast, and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this video. Also give us a like or leave a comment on what you thought about the episode. But until next time, thanks so much for listening.